They say the meaning of Christmas is giving, not getting. And that's a very beautiful thought. A holiday dedicated to kindness and love, separated from the greed that gunks up humanity's deepest crevices. It's a beautiful thought, but the trouble is that giving something first requires that you get something to then give. And sometimes, getting is easier said than done. Jesus Christ was born this very day, so what has people in such a tizzy? It seems that historically, every few years a toy hits the shelves that is so wanted and so requested by children that actually buying it becomes a feeding frenzy nationwide. It's such a known phenomenon that there's movies about it, there's a musical about it, and yet no one ever asks what it is about any particular toy that generates such wanton childlike hunger in the first place. Is it a product of good marketing, word of mouth, rampant consumerist brainwashing, or is there something else? Something intrinsic to these fads that turns simple plastic into an object of obsession? Spoiler alert, yes, there is an answer, but it won't make any sense if you don't watch the whole video. The very real violence won't make any sense either. So let's get started. Oh hi, don't mind me. I'm just decorating my tree, but it's such a shame because I don't even know what I'm gonna put under it. Luckily for me and luckily for you, this video is sponsored by Zen Market, a Japanese proxy service that allows you to buy toys and online goods from Japanese online stores, which means you can get all kinds of cool stuff like Japanese Beyblade X products from Mercari or Rakuten. Yes, you can buy from over 10,000 Japanese online stores through Zen Market, even ones that are not directly integrated into Zen Market's website, just by copying the link from a Japanese website you want to buy from and pasting it into the Zen Market search bar. Look, if I go to Japanese Toys R Us, I can get like a bunch of cool Kamen Rider belts, paste them into Zen Market. Zen Market will buy it for me with my money and then send it over to me. It is a super cool and super convenient way for me to do any shopping I might want to do for my nerd friends who like Bottle Man and Beyblade and Japanese Bakugan stuff. And if you register your free account using promo code JETKUSO, you get a 740 Zen Point gift. I highly recommend you at least go to Zen Market and start browsing for some hobbies that you're interested in on their Rakuten or Mercari sections. I will definitely be getting some stuff from Zen Market this year, and I highly recommend you do the same. If not for the Christmas season, maybe with a little bit of that Christmas money, get a gift for yourself. Let's go talk about some weird toy history. All right. Hi, I'm JetKuso, and I make videos about toys for adults. Not adult toys, but videos about toys for adults to watch. In a childish way? Click at least one of my other videos after this one to tell YouTube that you want to see more. And if you're already a fan of what I do, please go and look at my Patreon and consider supporting the channel. A Christmas Story doesn't depict a toy fad as we know them today, but I want to start with it because it immediately betrays the pathology we'll be dealing with throughout the video. Ralphie's internal monologue shows us everything that runs through a kid's mind in the midst of a Christmas obsession. The marketing that plants seeds of grandeur, the elaborate fantasies of what might happen if only one had the toy, and the Machiavellian schemes to make sure that you get it. Maybe this movie doesn't connect with everyone, but this was absolutely me as a kid when there was something I wanted. A simple crush on an object that invades your mind until the object is gained. The object in question? A Red Ryder tool. Ralphie wants a Red Ryder BB tool more than anything in the world. Luckily, I happen to have one right here. I've never actually fired it though, so let's go see what all the fuss is about. The funny thing is, the BB tool described in the movie didn't actually exist. This model doesn't, and never had a compass in the stock or a thing that tells time. The author, Gene Shepard, had a tendency to play fast and loose with the truth when recounting tales from his youth. And somewhere in the process of remembering, he mixed up the extra features from Daisy's Buck Jones special with the Red Ryder model. Without that, it's just a fun little target shooting air rifle. More hardcore than modern foam dart blasters, obviously, but it's the same play pattern as what Hasbro wants you to do with Nerf blasters. Yeah, Hasbro, we were all shooting targets all the time. That's totally what we did with Nerf guns. There were many Christmases of my youth where a big fancy Nerf gun was the only big ticket item I wanted, aside from a Bakugan or two. I'd imagine myself going on spy missions and defeating enemies, if only I had the blaster that gave me all of the tactical capabilities I needed. I'm not exaggerating either, those were my thoughts. That's how kids think. I wanted the ones with scopes and removable stocks and huge magazines to customize the perfect blaster.
Well, just me and my trusty old Red Ryder carbine action 200 shot range model air rifle. Lucky I got a compass in the stock.
The more like a multi-tool it is, the easier it is to fantasize about it in advance of Christmas. And perhaps no real toy shows this quite as well as a fictional toy that turned into a real-world frenzy.
Planet Earth needs your help!
On the way!
Buzz Lightyear! The world's greatest superhero, now the world's greatest toy! Buzz has it all!
Spring-loaded light-up wings, spring-loaded helmet, a flip-up wrist communicator, glow-in-the-dark plastic, karate chop action, a frickin' laser in his wrist, built-in voice lines.
Everyone take cover.
Say the line!
Oh, Infinity. And beyond.
Thank you. And an immersive packaging experience, just like the Bo-Rock. Yeah, I'm still on the Bo-Rock thing. This specific buzz is not the 1995 Thinkway Toys version that the whole fuss was about. That one was a much simpler buzz that lacks many of the features shown in the movie. Even this buzz doesn't glow in the dark, a tale as old as time, apparently. But even without the wing lights and the karate chop action, that original buzz is a great toy. Pixar understood toys so well that they designed a very appealing action figure. Just listen to this little girl on Christmas morning.
Ah! My buzz!
I am Buzz Lightyear.
Thank you for the beautiful present.
Unfortunately, most companies didn't seem to agree that the toy would be so good. Prior to the release of Toy Story, both Hasbro and Mattel declined the license to produce Buzz Lightyear toys. A much smaller company, Thinkway Toys, took the license despite everyone else thinking the movie would flop for being computer animated. By the time it blew up, Thinkway had only manufactured an estimated 50,000 Buzz Lightyears, which might seem a lot, but that's compared with 250,000 Woodies. When the movie released in the UK in 1996, Buzzes were the hot ticket Christmas item, being sold at secondary market prices of over $100. And only a year later, movie producer Chris Columbus was trying his very hardest to get a Buzz for his own son, an impossible hunt that became an inspiration for perhaps the biggest white elephant in the room.
Every holiday season, there's one toy everyone has to have.
I want the Turbo Man action figure with the arms and legs that move, and the rock and roaring jetpack, and the boomerang shooter. Whoever doesn't can be a real loser.
I'll get that toy. I promise.
Now, jingle all the way.
Oh, Mr. Schwarzenegger, how I enjoy your antics. Look at him skittering around, performing atrocities to get a Turbo Man for his son. It's a very fun movie, but the toy that the plot surrounds leaves much to be desired. Turbo Man has similar features to Buzz: lights, a jetpack, and voice lines.
You can always count on me.
I mean, look at him. He looks like Big Tex mixed with a T-bone stink. And it makes sense because Jingle All the Way is intended as a biting satire of American consumerist culture. It isn't about toys how Toy Story is. It has no love for toys, so it doesn't need to show a good toy to make its point. Its message is actually better served by a toy that kind of looks like crap, that's only a big deal in the universe because of a cultural push to get the right gift. Did that break? No, it didn't. Good, because I haven't shot the B-reel yet. The movie is about the predatory marketing that makes kids and parents think that the right gift is insert company here's product. Turboman is a very popular character in general in this universe, so it's only the brand tie-in that makes everyone want the action figure in the first place. In contrast, since Jingle All the Way was mostly met with shrugs by the public at large, the real Turboman toy has never been particularly desirable unless you're one of this movie's dozen of fans. But is it really just the marketing and brand tie-ins that make kids want some toys over others? Would Buzz Lightyear have been a successful toy without Toy Story? Would Ralphie, or Gene Shepard, have wanted the Red Ryder carbine action 200-shot range model air rifle with a compass in the stock in this thing that tells time, if not for it being tied into a popular comic strip character, Red Ryder? Because that seems like a pretty cynical take to me. Maybe we should be that cynical about consumerism like this. The need to buy and have and consume to be happy is a value that's been instilled in our culture on purpose by companies with no interest in our happiness. And if Jingle All the Way is to be believed, that's corrupted a wonderful holiday like Christmas into quite the hellscape. But come on. In pictures from a Disney store during the Buzz Lightyear craze, everyone seems happy and smiling. And this was in England, where no one is happy. When I went to buy my own Buzz in the middle of this December, everything was calm and pleasant. There he is. It's Buzz Lightyear. To infinity and begone. Surely a Christmas fad in real life has never been as bad as the movie.
Hello.
Hi.
What's up?
All right. You are my mother, correct?
Yes. As far as I know, I am in fact your mother.
Okay, that's cool. How old were you in 1983?
I was 17.
Did you ever have a Cabbage Patch doll?
I did not, but I remember very well the Cabbage Patch phase and how everybody wanted one and everything. Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah. What's your recollection of that craze?
People were insane. Everybody wanted one because they had these soft faces and they were really, really cute. The first year or maybe 2 years that whatever toy manufacturer had taken it, they flew off the shelves and you couldn't really get one at the shelves during Christmas time.
Do you recall anything like that happening before that?
No, in fact, in my memory, that's the first time anything like that ever happened. I personally think that's the original in my experience, but I mean, I don't know. But I think the Cabbage Patch doll was the original toy craze, like where parents were, beating each other up over it and stuff. I don't think they were in 1983 because people were nicer back then, but yeah.
So, I mean, it was so widespread that even you were still observing the phenomenon.
I was, yeah, and thought it was kind of insane.
Cabbage Patch Kids have a Wikipedia page like most toys, but it's the only toy I could find with a secondary page about its craze, titled The Cabbage Patch Riots. These dolls caused violence, real violence. Customers were threatened by a store manager with a baseball bat at one now infamous riot. If you stood in line for hours upon hours only to wind up empty-handed and uninjured, you could count yourself lucky. Other people were trampled. Cabbage Patch Kids were invented by Martha Nelson Thomas, a common face at Kentucky craft fairs in the 1970s. She designed a series of soft sculpture dolls that she called doll babies, each one unique, lovingly sewn stitch by stitch. The idea to include birth certificates and adoption papers with the dolls? All Martha, a product of her own unique soul. It's cute as hell. If you don't think giving a doll a birth certificate and having kids adopt them is cute as hell, go watch the end of Toy Story 3 until you grow a heart. Selling her sculptures was her livelihood, but it's obvious that the doll babies were creations of love, meant to be loved, and I believe that it's that, the loving heart of the concept, that made them such a phenomenon. Unfortunately, it seems that the heart can still beat even when torn from the chest it belonged to. Martha's ideas and her designs were whole cloth plagiarized by Xavier Roberts, who went on to partner with electronics company Coleco for large-scale production. Coleco renamed them to Cabbage Patch Kids and mass-produced dolls with cheaper plastic heads. And yet, Martha's art was so strong that given a nationwide production scale, millions upon millions of children were eager to fall in love with the dolls. And adults will do terrible things under the banner of loving their children. Given the history of violence and plagiarism, I opted not to buy a Cabbage Patch Kid for this video. Ultimately, Thomas sued Xavier Roberts for stealing her ideas. According to Martha's lawyer, her life was never about the money, but the art itself. In the end, she wanted people to know that it was her art, even though she never wanted it spread so heartlessly. Martha Nelson Thomas continued making toys and art at a small scale. She did workshops with Girl Scouts and worked as an artist at her children's elementary school, among other projects. She took inspiration from the drawings of her own children, and it seems she never really stopped making beautiful things for the rest of her life. Coleco went out of business just 5 years after the craze. It was the Cabbage Patch Riots that were the biggest inspiration for Jingle All the Way, before the Buzz Lightyear-inspired angle was added to the screenplay. Maybe the screenwriters just missed the fact that Cabbage Patch Kids were really good dolls, in favor of focusing on the satire. Or maybe I'm missing the point. Cause you see, Turbo Man is not meant to be a good toy. All he is a stand-in for a reliable father figure. Turbo Man says at the very beginning,
"You can always count on me."
Jake Lloyd looks up to Turbo Man because his father is so absent. And only when Arnold becomes Turbo Man does he truly complete his real quest of becoming a good dad.
Thanks, Turbo Man. I knew you'd save me.
You can always count on me.
The whole time, the consumerism was a distraction. Even Toy Story isn't really about toys, it's about found family, purpose, and friendship. And what could be better than buying a new best friend? When's the next time you remember that happening?
Tickle Me Elmo, which I was a part of. We
that was
wanted
such
one
a quick response.
because Connor, your brother, wanted one real bad.
Tell me about your Tickle Me Elmo experience.
Well, we went out to get one, and we didn't realize that it had become the next Cabbage Patch doll.
You just thought Connor wanted one. Was it on TV?
We'll get one.
Or...
Yeah, it was on TV. The commercials were on TV, and Connor saw it, and he was like, he wanted it. So we got him what we could get him.
was
the plushy Elmo?
The non-Tickle Me Elmo, the untickleable Elmo.
Yes, the untickleable Elmo. Just a stuffed animal.
1996's Tickle Me Elmo is a very similar case to Cabbage Patch Kids, but rather than being an immersive baby adoption simulator, Tickle Me Elmo hijacks a child's empathy to generate opioid production in their brains. It's really quite simple. When you push the Elmo's tummy, the Elmo vibrates and laughs. You could probably tickle a real baby and get the same effect, but those are expensive, and who has the time? Once again, it's just good toy design, with a commercial almost as infectious as the toy itself. When the toy laughs, you laugh. Easy, mechanized joy production. I probably sound like I'm being sarcastic, but I'm serious. This thing is genius.
We couldn't get him one, so we got him one that was just a plushie toy. And then later on, when like the next year came around, we were able to get him a Tickle Me Elmo, which he disregarded immediately because he was already bonded with his plushie Elmo. And that was his security object when he was a kid, yeah.
Similarly to my brother, my favorite childhood stuffed animal didn't have any fancy electronics, but I bonded with it all the same. This is Regal, my first and favorite Beanie Baby. One of, many. Beanie Babies provide an odd addition to the fad narrative, because they weren't particularly popular as a gift, but rather as a valuable collectible, sure to increase in value year over year. Basically the most prominent toy-based economic bubble till Funko Pops. Don't worry guys, the Funko Pops are gonna go great. That holographic Comic-Con Darth Maul is gonna pay dividends, I promise. Nowadays, history remembers Beanie Babies largely as that worthless thing that everyone wasted thousands of dollars on in the late 90s. But that's a shame, because they're great stuffed animals. As a kid, I collected Beanie Babies well after the craze, and they were literally the only stuffed animals that I liked. I had no idea about the fad, they were just cute and felt nice. The weight of the beans and the posability created by understuffing them, the little name tags and poems on the tags, mwah, unmatched, loved them, obsessed with them. But when Beanie Babies fell, there was a bigger fish waiting to sweep in. You see, technology was improving, and simple features like voice lines and tickle, vibration, action simply wasn't gonna cut it anymore. They had to come up with an even better replacement for genuine social connection, otherwise they might not realize that they don't really need products to be happy. Oh god. I'm not getting closer to that thing.
What's that? It's my Furby. Furby loves you, lavender. Tickle me.
Ah, this little creep. Furby was as much a technological marvel as it was a sort of eldritch madness that fell over the world. It's no wonder that the second most prominent everyone goes insane shopping for a toy narrative is Team Star Kid's Black Friday, where a literal dark god uses a mass-produced doll as a vessel to enter our dimension. I feel similarly about Furbies, but I can't deny that they're cleverly designed. Any given Furby is built to create the illusion that it's listening and learning from its owner as it ages. I don't like touching it. As an internal timer ticks along, the Furby progresses down a pre-programmed simulation of language learning, using more English words over time. This is paired with a sort of Pavlovian response, where petting a Furby after it does something will make it more likely to do that thing again. These two simple features create such an effective illusion that Furbies were banned from being brought into the NSA headquarters in 1999 for fear they might record classified conversations and repeat them. They can't do that. And no one in the government actually checked, which makes it the funniest thing that has ever happened. Anyway, Furbies were basically the beginning of a new wave of toy trends. The very first consumer-level household robot to be sold at this scale, and far from the last. There was Poochie, which I wanted, For Real Friends, which I wanted, and eventually Hatchimals by Spin Master, the biggest Christmas craze of 2016, which revolutionized the genre by doing its coolest feature one time and then never again, turning a high-cost robot into a sort of consumable good. Meanwhile, a toy called RoboSapien was probably the biggest boy-marketed robot of the mid-aughts. I wanted it desperately as a youngin', but I only got one much later at a yard sale, and found myself a bit disappointed. I don't even think I still have it, that's how underwhelming it was. 'Cause you don't really interact with RoboSapien, you control RoboSapien. Its remote is an almost TARDIS-like assemblage of buttons that I feel no more confident in operating than I do a crashing 747. As creepy as the Furby is, I think I would have liked it better as a kid than the far more advanced toy. And that's weird, right? Earlier I spoke to the value of having many features, and the RoboSapien certainly does more than a Furby or a Tickle Me Elmo or a Beanie Baby, but it doesn't feel like anything. It's weird, and maybe it's just because it didn't have any brand identity. No media tie-in, no character. It sold well, but nowhere near as well as frickin' Snow Glow Elsa did in 2014. All Snow Glow Elsa does is sing copyright strikes directly into the inbox of Disney's legal team whenever you lift her arm. But she was the toy of 2014. Why? Well, here's what I think about that. The shot was a split screen. I lied. Comedic violence against girly things and girly toys is a product of misogyny that I do not condone on this YouTube channel. Obviously, Snow Glow Elsa was a popular character because she's frickin' Elsa from Frozen, the biggest movie ever, and she sings the song that was the biggest song ever. It's just consumerism and marketing. Same with the Buzz and Elmo and Red Ryder and Beanie Babies and Cabbage Patch Kids. Good ideas, sure. Great toys, sure. But we only wanted them because we were told to want them. And do you want to know how they did it? Do you want to know what they all have in common?
I love you. I love you. We love you.
Take her home and she'll love you forever.
Real Tide Beanie Babies in a mini size. To toss, tuck, or just plain love.
Your dad is not mad at you. He loves you more than anything in the whole wide world.
You can love and care for them like your very own.
You're a pal.
You got a friend in me.
They were never selling toys. They've always been selling love. In a way that's beautiful, that all of these frenzies, however violent, were in the name of love. And in a way, it's also spectacularly sad. It's the capitalist, consumerist system that we live in that traps our parents in eternal work with no free time, taking them out of our lives only to sell the love we should be getting from them back to us. But at the very same time, the hard work that's been put into these objects is real, and the love that children have for these objects is very, very real. Remember my favorite Beanie Baby, Regal? A Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. This stuffed animal was everything to me. I had it nearly since I was born, brought it with me on every trip, lost it once, cried a lot, and probably found it years later. And I still have it. I decided very young that if I could ever get a dog, I wanted a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. That didn't quite work out because they're very expensive purebred dogs with a lot of health problems, but I did get a dog at 8 years old. A Cav mix who I named Regal. She was the wonderful dog who slept next to my bed for the next 15 years and passed away not long ago. But I still have this. She doesn't go away, and she's what I think of when I hear people ragging on how stupid the Beanie Baby fad was. Like, they're right, but there was a lot more going on than just a speculative economic bubble. Look, I'm not a particular fan of consumerism and capitalism, but not because they don't come with some pretty great benefits. Consumerism is sort of rad. I like to consume. I like buying things and giving gifts. And would so many kids have been brought joy by Martha Thomas Nelson's doll baby designs if not for her idea being stolen by a predatory but business-minded jerk? Probably not. But is it worth it? Martha didn't want her toys spread that far because they were her children, made for her community. Kids should be getting love from family and community, not products. In the end, it's consumerism solving a problem that capitalism causes. It was never about getting a Turbo Man action figure, after all. Now, in other, more ethical cases, I don't blame the toy designers themselves for seeing a need and filling it. Toy designers didn't invent lonely children, and if they can make something that softens the blow, I don't know how to untangle every nuance of that. But I don't think it's necessary to act like every trapping of consumerism is inherently bad in order to fight the system that actually creates the isolation. This is an inferior love, a one-sided love, parasocial in a way. But it does make kids happy, and it was made to make kids happy just as much as it was made to sell. It's no replacement for a reliable parent, a show of love, a found family, a sister, a pet, or a best friend. But toys can create a real joy when there are gaps in your life, when the people around you can't be everything that you need. Especially so when the toys are made with love, designed with care, and designed to last, and given to a child as a show of love, to fill in the gaps. This is Jet Kuso, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much to Dehancer for helping us out with this video. It's a plugin for Adobe Premiere, DaVinci Resolve, and Final Cut Pro that makes stuff look like film. Literally, we told it what camera we were using and then looked up some film stock from around the time A Christmas Story came out, and it just emulated that look perfectly for all of our footage. Check out Dehancer, it is such a cool plugin. Thank you, of course, to Zen Market for sponsoring this video and making all of this possible, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please check out my Patreon to help support the channel. I do have some exclusive videos up there, but mostly it's just a place where you can help make all of this possible. I already did my little flip-off thing, so I'm just gonna thank patrons now. Thank you to my diamond patrons, Immortal Blank, LucidLana, Chuka Bear, and new diamond patrons, Razu Ryan and Tenzin Tseyang. Thank you to my Titan patrons, SheVitus, CR107, GUSANO, plecopleco, and Banana Jones, and my hyper patrons, Gavin Greenlee, David, Trouble, DuskAnthro, and Mudorios. And of course, some new base patrons, Kaz the Godhand, Eli Privy, and Omega Leonidas. Thank you all so much for joining and helping to support the channel.